And welcome to the Marc McMain Show. It was a long weekend for me. I missed everybody. I hope our listeners missed us. And we're excited to be back live on the air. I got Chastity, our producer, here, and Charlie Morgan is actually in the studio.
Hello.
Charlie, good to see you.
Good to see you, too. Welcome back.
Well, I was glad to see the place didn't burn down in my absence.
Of course. Come on. Give me a little credit here.
This is in good hands. WMOQ is in fantastic hands. I got to tell you, I had some fun.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, have you ever been to a wedding in Mexico?
Yes, but it was at an all-inclusive resort, and I actually do remember some of it, but I'm guessing you have a more traditional
so you
Mexico
probably
wedding.
went to a gringo's wedding that took place in Mexico. Is that right?
No, I got some friends just didn't want to pay for a big wedding here, so they decided to do a destination wedding to kind of limit who goes, if we're being honest.
Well,
and it was at a resort in Cancun.
And that was probably fun.
It was the best.
Yeah.
The absolute best.
Well, I got to tell you, weddings in Mexico are a big deal, especially, for Mexicans getting married in Mexico. Wow.
So this was a very traditional Mexican wedding. Like, we're not talking like on the beach in Cancun or Cabo. No. Like, I mean, this is like in Mexico. It's very traditional.
Probably, and I'm not joking, probably a 300-year-old church. I don't know. I'm guessing. The church, beautiful. Amazing. Yeah, beautiful place. The ceremony, let's think about this. So the wedding itself begins at, let's say, 6 p.m.
Okay.
Right, so that's in the church.
Okay, yeah.
And that's a solid 2 hours in the church.
Is it a Catholic wedding?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down.
Yeah.
Set your watch.
Get your exercise like Pilates. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work. Very beautiful, very traditional. Easily 2 hours, probably from 6 until 8, I'm going to say.
Wow.
So then we migrate over to the facility where the reception is going to be held.
And is it near the church?
Ish, 20 minutes maybe.
Okay, so you're not walking.
No, you're in the car.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so you get to this facility, and it's beautiful. Now, keep in mind, this wedding's big. There's 440 people. My nephew Rudy's getting married, and he's the first of all of the nephews to get married, right?
400. I don't like 400 people that I could.
I wouldn't know to invite for.
Some money was being spent on this one, and this was no joke. The reception was first class. Top level dining. It was a beautiful facility.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. They had a band playing. Now, I don't know the band. It was a Mexican band, but called.
They had a live band.
Well, they had a live band at first, right? That was like a traditional wedding band.
Mm-hmm.
Then they brought in this band called La Firma, which is the firm. I guess is a famous Mexican band.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe not famous like Journey or something like that. But
of course not. Yeah.
But a pretty famous band. So then they come in. This thing went from 9 p.m. until 3 a.m.
Is that usual? Like, is that really?
That's the norm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like 9:30 is like way past my bedtime.
And it's eating, dancing. Now, I don't drink, but what I did is I told the waitress, I gave her a nice tip. I said, keep the Coca-Colas running. Because I need the caffeine.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I keep saying amazing, but like, there's no other words, and like, there's nothing like that here. Because
it is. It's
like,
totally
I got
different.
married in a Baptist church, but we didn't do the reception at the Baptist reception hall because you can't drink there, you can't dance there.
Right.
So we had it somewhere else, but. I cannot imagine going to 3 a.m.
Oh, then it doesn't really stop there. You go back to the house, and then there's still more festivities. So I think I was in bed by 4. Oh, it's a blast. It is fun, and and there's dancing going on, and I did a little dancing. I'm safe because there was video, I'm sure, of me dancing, but because of Trump's border policy, the video does not make it into the United States. Is that how social media works?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That works for me. Sure. I think a lot more people would be going to Cancun and all those all-inclusive places if it worked that way.
But congratulations to my nephew. They're now in Europe. But just a lot of fun. Got to see family. My wife has 5 sisters, and they're like my sisters, and we just had such a good time. And I slept in deep on Monday. So
I was about to say, you need a recovery. You need a vacation from the vacation.
Yeah, you got to recoup. There's no doubt about it.
Especially you're staying up till 4 a.m.
Each night.
Sir, who are you?
It is a long night. And even for me, I'm a night owl. That's a long night. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. I missed Monday. Had a little procedure. I got give a shout out to Monroe Dermatology.
Oh.
Dr. Sable and her team are first class. Even though they did treat me like a frog in 9th grade biology. They are precise. They're good. I had a little skin cancer on my neck. They had to get it knocked out. See that?
I do see the little bandage. Yeah.
Did you know that skin cancer, this is the most likely spot to get skin cancer.
Oh, wow.
It's not your head?
I thought it would be the head.
Yeah, like your forehead
Yeah.
or something?
Well,
I had
according
no
to them,
idea.
because I thought it was unusual. You know, it was the size of a penny
Yeah,
or less.
yeah.
And it was the safe kind, well, the least dangerous
Right,
kind.
right.
And they removed it. They were fantastic. They stitched me up. I'm going to be great. But the neck, they said, is a very highly targeted area for
Common?
skin cancer.
That's
Wow.
interesting.
'Cause I don't
would
ever
not.
put sunscreen here.
No, and I'm just thinking, like, when I was in high school, like, I used to, like, literally put baby oil on myself to lay outside
Oh, to
because I
get
wanted
the
to get
extra
burned.
tan.
Yeah. And now I'm like, you will not find me in the sun anywhere.
I
Like,
know.
I am under an umbrella everywhere. Or I just don't really go out to the beach. Like, I don't want to get burned. Like, complete opposite. And it's because I'm so paranoid that I've just ruined my skin with, like, the tanning bed and the baby oil when I was a teenager.
Well, Liliana's big on it too. She'll and I do sunscreen. I'll put it on my ears and my head and of course the back of my neck, but I never think of putting it
Sure.
on the front of my neck.
No, I
on
would
the
not.
throat side. Yeah.
No, I
Bizarre,
would
right?
never think that. No.
So I learned something new, and I'll be more disciplined on that because I like fishing. I'm always out in the water. I'm always getting sun, and so that's
Who
why I
knew?
missed.
The more you know.
That's right. The
And
more you
thank
know.
you for Monroe Dermatology for taking such good care of Mark.
They're awesome.
They are awesome. I use them too.
Do you really?
Yep.
Yeah. No, they're fantastic. But they did treat me like a frog in biology.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I don't know what that means.
Well, they're dissecting. You know, they numb you up,
Oh.
and then they get in there, and you can hear the snip. The snip.
Nope. That's too much.
I guess
It's too much. As a mom that's had 2 C-sections,
Yeah.
just so you say in the snip, I'm like,
Yeah.
Respect
I guess that's better than being a guinea pig, though, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I can't.
The worst part is when they bring out the blowtorch and they suture you.
Stop. No, they don't.
Well, it's like electric. I don't know, some little thing, but you can hear it going, zzz, and you can smell you smell the cooked meat.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
It's like a carne asada. Yeah.
Suddenly we're not hungry anymore.
It was rough.
Wow.
It was rough. So I'm excited, Charlie. We've got, we've been talking about what we're going to be doing over the next 3 days for the past couple of months.
We have.
When this, was on my radar of something that was important to me. It is our 3-day health series targeted, we're targeted for children in regards to financial health, spiritual and mental health,
Right.
and physical health.
I'm so excited. I remember you talking about this months ago,
Yeah.
and I invited myself on the show because I was like, I'm so excited and so passionate about this as a mom of 2 little ones.
Well, it's, we're not a healthy country.
Oh, no.
And-
not by any stretch of the imagination.
And no matter where you are on the political spectrum, this show is a conservative Christian-based show, and we're not going to involve politics in the next couple of days. It's not necessary. This is a subject that I think everybody can agree on. This is the direction of our country. I think it's paramount that we continue to battle for what we think are our priorities. But if we're unhealthy as a nation, what good is it? And
not just unhealthy as in like you're eating the drive-thru all the time. Like we're talking about like financial.
That's it.
There's so many people that are not even living paycheck to paycheck. They are so far in debt.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy either.
And it's not. Think about it. Our country's in debt, and it's like
sure.
If you see your parents doing something bad, your parents are an influence on you. It's the same thing in our nation. Our country is not leading by example. Now, our state is. Georgia does a fantastic
Right.
job of balancing the budget and having a surplus. I wish the federal government would follow
Sure.
Georgia's path. But there's a trickle-down effect, and I think now when you look at the statistics and numbers, which we'll dig into some of that as we get into this today, today's topic is financial health, and I think we are extremely unhealthy as citizens. And what I've tried to do is play special effort while we're directing this. The subject matter is how do we get our kids healthier. I want to make this where adults can take something from it too.
For sure. There's always something you can take from that and apply to your life.
So that's our mission, is to make this digestible, to make it valuable. I hope that at the end of this 3-day series, we do 2 hours today, 2 hours tomorrow, 2 hours on Friday, that you walk away and that you do feel informed, you feel educated. Hopefully it's entertaining, but I want this to be valuable to our listeners, and I hope they get something from it.
Definitely.
And great resources, too. So
That's right.
always-
Yep.
That's right. I brought in what I consider some of the area experts. As a matter of fact, our next guest will be Amy Parrish. She's a senior financial advisor with Highland Trust Partners. And I'm bringing in a variety of experts in their field to come in and talk about this with us. And look, let's be realistic. We can't solve.
We're not
Every
here to
problem.
solve, but if we can have a few light bulb moments for you,
Yep.
then we've done our job.
That's
Like if
right.
we can make a difference, if there's one little thing you take away from the show and you can apply it to your life or to your kids' lives, we've made a difference.
Well said. That's it. The little baby steps, right?
That's
if we
it.
can move the needle 1% over the next couple of days, that is a great start for helping the people in our listener area. And one other cool thing, too, that we've implemented today, and this is still in beta mode, is our show is going to be consumable so that if you can't listen to us today or if you want to listen to it later on and share it with somebody, it's on our website, right?
It is. So very excited about that.
That's kind of cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So if there's something that you missed that you think's of value, you want to go back and listen to it, it'll be there. Bear with us. This is beta testing, so we may have a couple glitches, but I'm excited about it.
We're working on it. Yeah. We're working out the kinks, but there's not a lot of bugs in
We're
there.
We're going to be big time.
We are big time. What are you talking about?
All right. Marc McMain, Charlie Morgan's here with us, Jessica Stewart. When we come back, our first guest will be Amy Parrish of Highland Trust Partners. See you in just a bit.
Your call is very important.
Still waiting on your cable company to care? With slow speeds and hidden fees, maybe it's time to pull the plug. Kinetic gives you 100% fiber and gig speeds with 25 times faster uploads than cable. Local service that actually shows up, and clear pricing that isn't there to surprise you. So ditch cable and connect with the right crowd. Get up to $200 when you switch. Visit GoKinetic.com. Kinetic. Internet better. Subject to availability. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you considering selling your house or land, or perhaps find your dream home? Call Stacy McCullers, your trusted real estate expert. With 12 years of experience and a lifelong connection to Walton County, Stacy is here to help you every step of the way. Whether you're buying or selling, she's available anytime to make your real estate journey smooth and successful. Don't wait. Call today. 678-859-6336. A member of Malcolm & Malcolm Realty Professionals. Stacy McCullers, your realtor for life.
Are you looking for new tires? Well, look no further than Madison Car Care. They have the largest selection and you'll always get the best price. They also handle a wide range of auto repairs, from the small things like oil changes and wiper blades to the big things like suspension, parts, and radiators. They offer all kinds of accessories, from toolboxes to bed covers, side steps, and they even install those awesome ranch hand bush guards. Give them a call at 706-342-4774 or stop by at 1040 Confederate Road in Madison.
And welcome back to the Marc McMain Show. We're so excited to be talking about our subject matter today, which is financial health for children. But as I told our listeners, you will be able to take something from this even if you don't have kids. We're going to make this digestible so that you can apply it to your children, whether they're 5 or 15, or you yourself, if you're 25 or 50. I promise you there'll be nuggets that you can take from this that will help you. Our guest today in studio with us is Miss Amy Parrish. She's a senior financial advisor with Highland Trust Partners. Amy, thank you so much for joining us today in studio.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We're going to have a lot of fun.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm going to preface this. There's 3 Bible verses. Biblically, money is quite often talked about in the Bible, and how you manage money and being a good steward of it. And there's 3 verses that I found that mean something to me. So I'm going to open our conversation with this. Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty." Ooh. And I love that because what it tells me is if you have any amount of money and you're not a good steward of that money, it can evaporate real quick. So the subject matter we're going to talk about today is going to reinforce that. The second verse is Ecclesiastes 11:2, which invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. This is a verse about diversification. Don't put all your money in one basket. That's right. Yeah, spreading it out. And then the last part. This is probably one of the most understood verses about money in the Bible, because quite often people think the verse is, money is the root of all evil. That's not the verse.
Oh, I've heard that 100 times.
It's the love of money.
That's actually true too. Yeah.
For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. And so I brought that verse into this conversation as well, because what we're talking about is not being in love with money. It's being smart with money.
Right.
And being, a good steward. A big difference.
Huge difference.
And so when I hear people say that, oh, money's the root of all evil, I cringe because no, it's not. It's the love of money when it changes your trajectory. So, Amy, for you, the first talking point I got is, let me get my notes right here. Why does early financial literacy matter?
I think it's so important because we need to teach our children how to be intentional, just like you're saying. Start at a young age to be a good steward so that they can be a blessing to others and they can live or build off those biblical truths. I mean, I think the way you opened is a great way to introduce it to your kids, make it part of their Bible study, their Christian learning, that this is something that God has instructed us to do, is to handle our money well. And I think something that I have heard that I love is that you need to control your money instead of your money controlling you.
Love it.
So you tell your money where to go, and don't just willy-nilly not know where the money's going, because if you control the dollars, that's going to make you a good steward, and you're going to ultimately lead to financial freedom.
And my dad and I would talk. I remember when I was younger, my dad would describe different cultures that are famously known for being great stewards of money, and my dad said, hey, this is not by luck. It's not because they're just blessed. It's because they teach their children finances at a young age.
Yes.
And so I remember at a time when my dad was going through severe financial hardships, my dad, I remember in his, let's say, late 30s, his trajectory is through the roof. He was an executive with American Motors. You remember the old, the Gremlin? Well, that's too old.
They won't know.
That's BC, before Charlie.
Well, he had a great position with a company that ultimately went bankrupt, and it bankrupted him. Oh. And so at 45 years old, my dad had to completely rebuild his financial self. He was living in a one-bedroom efficiency in Conyers. And, of course, my mom and I, we went through the hardship as well, even though my parents were divorced. But I remember in that moment, my dad said, hey, look, there's something I need to teach you about financial understanding. And he said, because this is not something that you're just going to naturally have.
Right.
So it needs to be
taught.
Taught.
And you think I was thinking about this, like how the world has changed, and we just mentioned our age, but how different it is. When I was growing up, there was financial education in high school. I saw my parents write check. I saw my parents tithe. You don't see any of that now. Like I remember my kids were saying one time, I think it was my son, wanted something, and I was like, we don't have the money for that. And he said, well, just go to the wall and get it, meaning the ATM.
Right. I remember Sunday afternoons, my mom balancing the checkbook before she started cooking dinner. And now it's like, I just open the app on my phone to see
pay all your bills and pay all your bills online.
Yes.
And then even tithing, I do that online. So I've had to take time to tell my children, even when they pass the bucket, we're not putting anything in, or sometimes I would just give them cash so they could have that experience.
Participate, right.
Right. But I'm like, I do my giving online. But so now you've just got to be so much more intentional about it to bring them into those conversations.
What age do you start? What do you think is a comfortable age to start with, even, say, the most basic of practices? Charlie has young kids.
I'm 9 and 6.
9 and 6.
Yeah. And we're going through this week. I know a lot of the schools have their book fairs.
Right.
And they want to go to the book fair every day. And I'm like, we're not. We're just, like, I'm all about supporting the school. I'm there all the time. I'm on the PTO board, but we're not going to do the book fair every day. We have other things that we need to use our money for. And we've had this conversation numerous times over the last week of just
that's great, because that used to cause me a lot of angst too, the book fair, and then they would get the grandparents to send money for books. But that's a great opportunity too, like you're doing, to teach them about budgeting and about your values about money. Like, we can afford to spend this money because we want the books and we want to help the school system, but these are our other values that are important, and our other dollars are going to this. But going back to your question, I think studies show that as early as 3, they start to pick up on concepts, like they understand what money is. They ask for things at the store. And I don't know if your kids are like this, but mine were want all day long until I said, okay, spend your money.
Your money.
I don't need it anymore.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like, imagine how that's
they instantly become a financial conservative.
Immediately, But they also say, so 3 can start as easy at 3 with just basic things. And I know with my kids, when they started real young, Dave Ramsey had a program, and it was great. It had activity books, and they had little folders for save, spend, and give. Okay. So it was a way at a young age to teach kids different buckets, how that they could spend some money, but they needed to save some money, and then they needed to give some money away.
Right.
And then they say at age 7 is really a time when they're kind of, they've already learned some basic habits and beliefs about money. So you really need to get them before 7. Start engaging them in that conversation.
Early's good. Yeah. So it sinks in. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Amy Parrish. She's a senior financial advisor with Highland Trust Partners. I've got Charlie Morgan is in the studio with me today, so it's nice to have the boss looking over us and keeping us in line here.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. What about, there's another habit that I think is a great habit for parents to teach kids. And obviously, Amy, we have you here for a reason. In the second segment, we're going to get really deep into the investment side of the world, right? But what about the habit of chores and payment for chores? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I mean, because I struggle with that when my kids were little, allowance, just giving them allowance or making them do some things. I think Dave Ramsey did say, too, that you should give them certain things they had to complete, not necessarily chores, but just tasks, like
tasks without getting paid for.
Right. There were some things you did you didn't get paid for.
This is the cost of living in my house.
Right. And then at the end of the day, you can have this amount of money. But I think giving them any amount of money that teaches them that there's a finite amount of money and they've got a budget and they've got to make choices. Because I read something about a woman who sent her kid always with cash because she knew she was going to try to spend more than that and she was going to have to make hard decisions on what was truly important.
That's good. We do chores, but I don't give them an allowance for their chores. They do their chores, and it's
a responsibility.
That's the cost of living at home. That's the cost of you doing basketball and cheer and all these things. Teach them a little responsibility. But if they want extra book fair money for like a poster that they want or something, then we'll discuss having to do some extra chores.
Things. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
That's what works for us.
See, I don't know. I never did the chores for payment deal.
Yeah, we do that, and maybe that's why I don't do it with my kids because that's not how we did it.
I think those are things they just should do.
You have to clean up your room. That's just part of being a responsible child and responsible adult.
One neat thing that I saw my boys do, and they were, let's say, 7 and 9. I'm looking back. They went to the golf course, and my younger son was the pioneer on this, and this told me he was going to be the entrepreneur of the family. Marcus went into the woods and got his neighbors and his buddies and his brother to round up a bunch of lost golf balls. And then they cleaned the golf balls, bagged the golf balls, and then went down to the golf course. And Marcus, my younger son, did all the selling. So he got the team to do the harvesting and cleaning.
Smart kid. I'm
telling you.
And I just love, I remember we videotaped it because it was just fun to watch. And he'd probably cringe if he's listening to this now. But it's those little light bulb moments where you all of a sudden see your kids are taking ownership in, hey, I want to earn some money.
And think about it, if you just constantly give them money, whether it be allowance or just money to buy what they want, they never have this opportunity just to learn or to be creative about. And there's so many opportunities for kids to work that you don't want to stifle that in them.
You're right, because you can get a work permit, I think, in the state of Georgia at the age of 14, and it comes with restrictions. You have to get it approved by the school board. At least that's what it was like when I got my first job. So that may have changed. So you need to check with your school board and how that works. But you can get your first job at 14 years old.
You can. There's these 2 little girls in our neighborhood that wanted to make some money. They are they're probably a little older than my kids now, but they started a trash can concierge company. And I mean, it's just within their neighborhood.
Like they would bring it back and forth.
They will take your trash can from the top of the driveway and bring it back down. And some of our houses have longer driveways, or they will bring it up to your up to the drop of the driveway and then bring it back down. And Lizzie and Lucy, that's their business. They do trash can concierge. It's $1 per day or per week that they do. Yep.
Yeah. See, my son missed out. He did that, but only for his grandmother.
Oh, yeah, you do it.
And she paid him, but
their mom drives them around in their minivan around the neighborhood because most of us have the same trash service. So on Mondays, they drive around and they jump out of the little minivan.
Oh, that's great.
Run it down. I see them on my little Ring camera every week. It's so cute. So, you don't have to have a work permit to do that. You just have to have drive and some passion and desire.
And something else we're seeing, too, now is a lot of people own their own businesses or might be influencers or own rental rental properties, they use their children in their ads and some sort of facility. I mean, the children can be whatever age, and they can start earning money and then putting that into a Roth for their kids.
For sure.
Let's talk about some younger people, and we can even talk about young adults with this next question. Amy, what red flags do you see? So people that are coming out of high school and getting out on their own when it comes into the investment side, any red flags that are jumping out at you and habits that are maybe bad habits that are being formed?
Yeah, they just don't have the financial skills. They don't know anything about signing up for benefits with their employer. They also, I used to teach a class for graduating seniors at UGA teachers in the education majors. And we would be talking about, your benefits at your first job, buying a home, things just starting out. Inevitably, the conversation led to credit card debt because they signed up for every credit card at every store they went to because they got a discount. And they had about 10 credit cards. All were maxed out. And so we spent so much time talking about that and just saying, don't fall into that trap.
No.
It's not cheaper. And if you can't afford it, then getting 10% off and putting on a credit card is not going to help you.
No.
And that's what Clark Howard said is like the absolute worst credit cards you can get are those store credit cards because the interest rates are high. 30%.
And it's just enticing you to buy things you can't afford in the moment.
Yep.
Oh, it's frightening. Yeah, it is. And it's sad when you see somebody taking advantage of that or getting taken advantage of. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Amy Parrish, Senior Financial Advisor with Highland Trust Partners. What we're talking about, too, none of this is designed to make our listeners feel bad. What I want to do is I want to be sure when we're hitting on something, we are trying to make you aware. And even if it's something that if we discuss something that is a poor financial decision, remember, everything can be unwound. Everything can be fixed.
Right.
It's never too late. Again, I don't care if you're 15 or if you're 55. There's always a point of turnaround. And so what we're going to do is kind of arm you with that as this show goes on. So let's talk about that now. What are some mistakes that parents make with kids? And we hit on some of this a little bit that maybe can be avoided. And the first thing that I'll throw in is, again, that easy fix of your kid wants something and you just make that path of wanting it and getting it eliminated.
Right.
Yeah. So that's something that I see. And I think this goes to parents who maybe aren't necessarily struggling financially. This is maybe parents who are doing okay. Right. And I'm guilty of this. I went through tough times as a kid. I did a little bit better in life than my parents did. So when my kids come to me and they said, "Hey, Dad, I need a pair of soccer cleats," it's like, yeah, go to the Dick's website or go to the store and get what you need. What are some things that we can do to avoid that?
I think, again, it goes back to just being intentional and bringing those into those conversations because it's been difficult even with, I'm a financial advisor. You'd think we would have it made, but I've struggled with my own kids.
Sure.
And my daughter's now out on her own, just in her first year of teaching and helping her set a budget. And this was when she was in college. I said, you need to add up all the money that you spend on Dunkin' Donuts and getting your nails done. And she said, ooh, I don't want to do that. That would be scary. I'm like, well, that's the point.
That's where it gets
And I think those things have just become so commonplace in our society that they think it's a need instead of a want. But I'm like, no, Dunkin' Donuts and getting your nails done is still a want. I know it seems like a need now. Everybody has pretty nails.
Right.
But I think having those conversations and not making them taboo. I think like going back to what happened to your dad. Similar situation happened to my dad.
Okay.
Later in life, he got laid off, had some hard times. But money wasn't really talked about in my house growing up. So we knew the stress was there as kids, but we just didn't understand it, and we didn't know what the plan was. So I think having those open conversation in your family household about money and not making it be taboo or a negative thing. And even if you're struggling and you don't have all the answers, admit that to your kids and say, I'm struggling with this decision right now, but we're going to seek some resources, or we're going to seek some advice, or here's, the dilemma that we're facing. Yeah. We can pay for vacation or college, or, and I'm kind of going off topic, but college. Please explain to your children what college costs and return on investment. I mean, so much money is spent on college, and these kids come out and can't get a job.
Massive debt.
Right. And so try to avoid that at all costs to get them on a good foot.
That's a very good point.
It is. We're in a culture where I think people feel like if they don't go to college that they're a failure, and that's not the case. There's so many other opportunities to do stuff that will yield an incredibly rewarding career that don't require a 4-year degree.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you avoid the debt. And before we take our break, I'll kind of shed some light, going back to my father. And let's say, and again, I'm looking back, he was 45. He completely hit the financial reset button, was dead broke, retired, very wealthy.
Yeah.
So in about a 17-year window, completely rebuilt his wealth.
Still time. Yeah.
Still, that's it. So it's never too late. And that's what I want our listeners to know, is that if you're making poor financial decisions, and whether it's affecting you or affecting your kids, it's never too late.
No, it's literally one step is all it takes. Whether it's 6 months or 6 years, it doesn't matter. If you're making progress towards the goal, that's all that matters.
Yep.
That's all that matters.
Yep.
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, more with Amy Parrish, Charlie Morgan, and Chastity, who's keeping us in line. Stick around.
It's the biggest sale of the year on Black Friday at K&D Shoes and Conyers. From 7 a.m. till noon, save 30%. From noon until close, save 20% store-wide with very few exceptions. Over 50,000 pairs of shoes and boots to choose from for men and women, from name brands like Ariat, Rocky, Georgia Boot, and others. Plus, save on men and women's casual styles from Skechers, Hey Dude, Merle, and others. With cold weather coming, save on outerwear from name brands like Carhartt, Ariat, and more. The first 100 shoppers enjoy free copy while you save. On Black Friday, the place to be is K&D Shoes, 2250 Dogwood Drive in Conyers, where great deals and great brands come together for one big sale. Some exclusions do apply. See store for all the details. That's K&D Shoes' big Black Friday sale right there in Conyers.
Don't wait to transform your home with Moncrief Flooring and Remodeling. Be ready to entertain for the holidays. From stylish floors to full kitchen and bathroom makeovers, it's quality craftsmanship on your new hardwood plank, tile, carpet, or laminate flooring. Give them a call at 770-589-9546 to schedule an appointment. Let's build something beautiful together. Located at 4915 Highway 138 in Loganville. Moncrief Flooring and Remodeling, where dream homes begin.
My name is Trace Akins. I'm from Moultrie, Georgia. To be an organ donor, it would make my family really proud to see something of me live on in someone else. I want my legacy to be me being there for someone who really needs me and helping someone out that really needs help, hoping that they will continue that legacy within themselves and do that with their friends and family.
When you become an organ and tissue donor, your story continues. Lifelink. Register today at mystorycontinues.com.
Ready to grow your small business and reach thousands of new customers? Look no further than Town Values Magazine. Each month, our magazine is packed with coupons and services offered reaching thousands. Want to learn more? Reach out online at townvalues.com.
Keep your vehicle looking and running like new with help from the Wow Express in Monroe, offering a state-of-the-art drive-through vehicle car wash that includes free vacuums, window cleaner, and so much more. Be sure to check out their unlimited wash club that saves you money. Open 7 days a week at 911 North Broad Street in Monroe and their second location at 242 North Broad Street in Winder. To learn more, go to wowwashandlube.com.
It's already that time again. Time to decide what to gift your office staff, clients, and relatives spread out all across the country for Christmas. Well, that's easy if you choose to go nuts at the Stone Mountain Pecan Company. Online at stonemountainpecan.com. Eat well, be happy.
When you walk through the doors of Campton Restaurant, you're not just here for a meal, you're part of a tradition. I'm Josh Parker, fourth generation owner, and for nearly 40 years, families in Walton County and surrounding areas have gathered around our tables to share stories, laughter, and good Southern cooking. From crispy fried chicken to hearthealthy daily specials. There's always a plate waiting with your name on it. We're open Mondays for lunch and Tuesday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. So come on by, make yourself at home, and experience Campton Restaurant, where family tradition meets every meal.
I've got to tell you about the best kept secret in Monroe for electric wholesale supply, Allen's Electric. Family owned and operated since 1972, Allen's Electric offers a complete line of electrical supply, wiring, breakers, bulbs, heating elements, electric motors, light fixtures, and so much more. Located at 925 West Spring Street in Monroe, stop by and see Brian and Cindy, in business for over 50 years. That's Allen Electric Supply, 770-267-5572.
Welcome back, Marc McMain Show. Our topic today is financial health for children, but it goes beyond that. This isn't just for children. It's for teenagers, young adults, and even if you are an adult that is financially struggling, I promise you will take some nugget from this conversation and be able to apply it starting as early as today. Our guest is Amy Parrish. She's a senior financial advisor with Highland Trust Partners. Lee Garrett just joined us, the regional president for Pinnacle Bank. Lee, thanks for joining us today too, sir.
Thanks, Mark. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Charlie and Chastity are in studio with me. So we're going to continue the conversation, shift gears a little bit now. Let's talk about approved investment tools for kids. So, Amy, let's break this up. There's only so much that you can do for a kid when they're 5 or 10. I think you have to be 18 to open a Roth. Is that right?
You actually have to be 21. You can be 18. Because I just did one for my son. I should have done it a long time ago, but it had to be a custodial Roth IRA. So I'm still on it. Yeah, until he's 21.
What would be are there any investment tools for younger people? Is the 529 the way to go?
It just depends on what your goal is. The 529 plan is a great college savings tool because you put the money in, it grows tax-free as long as it's used for qualified educational expenses. But then the owner of it, whoever owns the account, the parent, the grandparent, can still access the funds if ever needed, but may pay a penalty and may pay tax on the gains. And then now there's a recently new rule where if there's money left over, you can always transfer it to another beneficiary, a sibling or a cousin, but you could also potentially roll it into a Roth IRA for that child. So that's a great vehicle, we think, for college savings. And there are maximum contribution limits. We do college planning projections for our clients to project out how much college might cost and how much they want to cover. Do they want to cover 100% or do they want to cover 50%? Because I really found that it varies. So I grew up where my college was all paid for, and I didn't appreciate it like my roommate who had to work while she was in school and had to pay some of her own bills. Mm-hmm. So I was like, my kids need to have some skin in the game. Mm-hmm. But then my clients that had to do that had to pay for some of their own school, they're like, I want to pay 100% of my kids. I don't want them to have to go through what I went through. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's all just, really what's most important to the client and what their values are. But that 529 plan is a great tool for that. And then there's custodial accounts where you just put the money in. There's no tax advantages to it. And when the child turns 21, it automatically is converted to their name. So this happened. My daughter had a custodial account. And when she turned 21, I got a notice from our firm that said, you have X amount of days to get this into her name because it's her money.
And that was just a traditional savings account then? Is that what that is?
Right, yes, right. It's just it was an investment account. It was in mutual funds, but it's just...
investment account. Gotcha.
Right, but it has to be used, while it's in a custodial account, it has to be used for her benefit. I can't just take the money out and spend it on anything. It had to be used for her benefit, but when she turns 21, it has to go into just her name. Then she can do whatever she wants with the funds.
Lee, did y'all do a 529? Because I know your daughter had a scholarship, an athletic scholarship, so that probably helped take some of the bite out of that fee.
Yeah, she did. We had an athletic scholarship, so that was very beneficial. Mm-hmm. But she went out of state, so that, the not having the hope kind of offset that. So, but the 529 plan was hugely successful, and we were also able to use our sons, what was left over from our son, for Kindle. So
that's a big deal because. Mm-hmm. My dad really helped get the 529 set up and participated in that. So by the time the boys were ready for college, there was enough money between the two boys to cover one. Well, Matthew goes to the Naval Academy, which cost us $0.
Oh, right.
So I was able to take all of his money and use it for Marcus. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you started the 529, Charlie?
Yes, that was something that was just preached to us when we're having kids. So from when I gave birth to the kids they have, and that's when we send it out to the grandparents periodically, just, hey, don't forget about this kind of thing, and that's what we have. Now, if they don't go to school, you mentioned it a few minutes ago, I'm a big proponent of not pushing college on kids. I went to college. Did I need a degree to talk for a living? Maybe not. I think I'm pretty good at that. But it's neither here nor there. It's too late for that now. But I don't necessarily think you need to push college on everyone. So that's my thought is I have these 529s for my girls. What if they don't want to go to college? What if whatever they want to do, you don't need college?
Can you use it for trade school?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can use it, for,
what if they start their own business?
Room and board and computers or whatever would be related to college expenses. It doesn't have to be just tuition.
Yeah, I don't think you could use it on a business. It has to be for some level of higher education, right?
What if they don't go that route? They just start their own business. What are the options for using 529s if they don't go to any higher education.
Well, you could, take it out, but again, you might have a penalty or taxes on the gain.
Yeah. So
now there's a fairly new rule which has some stipulations to it where they could potentially roll that money over or some of it to a Roth IRA.
Oh, okay. So there are options if you have that money for them, and that they can use. Perfect. I like that. Okay.
And that's what just before you were to take it all out, then I would sit down with somebody and make sure you understood
100%
what every option was.
100%.
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest, Amy Parrish, Senior Financial Advisor with Highland Trust Partners, Lee Garrett, Regional President of Pinnacle Bank. Charlie, I find it interesting because I think there are some people who maybe are in a financial situation where they feel they don't have the financial bandwidth to have a relationship with a financial advisor, but I would suggest reach out to your bank. And there's going to be somebody there. Even if you don't have a lot of money, there's going to be somebody that's going to get you on the path.
Well, and the good news is now there's a lot of online tools. At one time, I know in our industry, everybody was afraid, everybody can be a do-it-yourselfer now. And I tell people, I said, there's plenty of information and resources available now if you have the time and the interest to do some planning on your own. But fortunately, some people still want to hire professionals.
I call my husband our financial advisor because I don't know. And there are a lot of things, but it's like I have the creative mind. I don't have the numbers mind. Right. And so I need someone like you guys to help out and help me understand that. So as little money as I have, I'll bring my little sixpence to you to help me.
Going back to right out of college people, we do have a program. We have a couple of younger professionals in our office that have a subscription service where, you can pay them monthly and they'll walk you through different financial planning concepts over the course of a year. Because that's a way that, we wanted to reach a younger generation. And then also any of our clients, we want to work with their kids and their grandkids. We want to get to know the whole family and create a legacy of good financial stewardship.
So if you're planning to teach your children about an IRA, at what point can you open a custodial Roth? At what age can that take place?
That's a good question. They just have to have earned income. So at any age, because like I said, some kids, I heard a CPA speak just last week, and he was advocating if you're a business owner, start paying your kid for advertising, for cleaning your office. I mean, they could do advertising as a baby.
That's right. So you can pay them as a business owner.
Right.
Yep. Explain the difference, if you don't mind, Amy, the difference between a traditional Roth and, a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA.
Right. So traditional is pre-tax money goes in. So if you made a contribution in the year 2025, you would not owe tax on it in that year. It won't be considered ordinary income. And it grows tax deferred. So all the gain in it, you never pay any tax on that. But when you go to take it out, it's taxed as ordinary income. Every dollar that comes out is taxed as ordinary income. Now with a Roth, it's after-tax money, so you don't get any tax benefit in the year that you make the contribution, but it grows tax-free. So there's tax deferred versus tax-free. So when you go to take money out of a Roth, you don't owe any additional tax. There's no ordinary income generated.
Right. And I think the biggest challenge for young investors is to get them to buy in, to contribute to something when they're 18 or 22, 24, that they can't touch until they're, what is it? Is it 58 and a half, or what age can you?
59 and a half.
59 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
That's the biggest challenge, I think, is convincing people, but it absolutely works.
Yeah, and I think going back to our conversation about what we teach our kids, it's that delayed gratification and how do you model that. And one thing that I love is from David Bach, wrote a book called Smart Women Finish Rich, and then he had Couples Finish Rich. But you may be familiar, he had the latte factor in there. Mm-hmm. So if you just Google latte factor calculator, there's an online calculator where you can put in, it says, like I put in, if I spend $6 every 3 days, assuming I get a coffee, pretending I'm my daughter, but if I spend $6 every 3 days, what would that grow to if I instead invested that over 20 years?
You're scaring me. I do not want to do that.
Are you a latte person?
No,
I'm okay, in fairness, I know coffee came from Chastity, but it's because I haven't been getting my coffee every other day, and the coffee at home just doesn't taste as good.
Charlie, you're the poster child. There's a 1 gallon tub of Dunkin' Donuts coffee sitting on her desk.
And every time I say that, I feel bad.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I know my husband paid you to say that.
That's classic.
But on a positive note, don't feel bad about it. Just think that now you're educated and you know if I just maybe didn't get one, what would that grow to?
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, Amy, can you stick around one more segment, or do you got to scoot?
Yes. No,
okay,
I'm good.
That's great. We're sticking around with Amy Parrish. We'll be right back.
Youngblood Tractor in Madison is proud to be your local Massey Ferguson dealer. Massey Ferguson has been building straightforward, dependable, and affordable tractors and farm equipment for 175 years. Massey Ferguson right now has the best lineup in their 175-year history, and there has never been a better time to upgrade to a Massey Ferguson tractor. Youngblood Tractor carries the complete lineup of Massey Ferguson tractors ranging from the 22.5 horsepower subcompact all the way up to the 130 horsepower mid-range utility tractor. And with one of the largest trailer inventories in the state, you'll always have a way to get it home. Youngblood Tractor also carries the complete lineup of hay equipment, including the legendary Massey Ferguson 1840 square baler, as well as implements like rotary cutters, batwing cutters, box blades, grapples, pallet forks, and more. There are great financing promotions to take advantage of, so give us a call today at 706-342-2242. Youngblood Tractor also has experienced parts and service departments to take care of you after the sale. Visit us online at www.youngbloodtractor.com or stop by and see us at 1600 Athens Highway in Madison.
Finding that missing shin guard, remembering whether it's a home or away game, getting the right kid to the right playing field on the right day. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple so you can worry about more important things, like not being that fan.
Oh, come on, Ref!
This is Esther Peters at Jim Boyd & Associates, Madison, Georgia. 706-342-2411 or jimboydagency.com.
What matters most at Walton EMC? Reliability. With 99.99% reliability, we power lives around the clock. From investing in renewable energy to strengthening our grid, we're always working to keep your power on, even when severe weather strikes. And when it's needed, you can count on our skilled teams 24/7 to quickly restore your service. Walton EMC, investing energy in what matters most. Learn more at waltonemc.com.
Y'all ever try wrestling a hay bale with a bad back or sitting through Sunday service feeling like a rusty old tractor? Well, quit suffering and get to the Joint Chiropractic in Covington and Monroe. For just $29, you'll get your first adjustment. No appointments, no insurance, no nonsense. Just walk in, get straightened out, and get back to wrangling life like a champ. Come on down to the Joint Chiropractic, where backs get blessed, and so do you.
Welcome back to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest, Amy Parrish, Senior Financial Advisor with Highland Trust Partners, Lee Garrett, Regional President from Pinnacle Bank, Charlie Chastity. We're 5 people united right now with a strong mission of being sure that our listeners can go home with something of value. This is our financial literacy series geared towards children, but everyone can take advantage of this. And I just found out I've got some fans listening from Mexico. So, hola, mis amigas de Mexico. Bienvenidos al show. The rest of that is going to be in English. Sorry about that, folks. If you're in Mexico, you just got to go brush up on your English. What we're going to do now is I want to talk about, Lee, in the break, you were telling a quick little story about something that you did for your son when he was getting married. Share with the listeners.
Yeah, it was great. And it's a little plug for Highland Trust. They do such a great job of counseling and coaching young kids. So my son was coming out of medical school. His wife was a teacher. They were just getting started in life. Yeah, they had some student debt. I mean, medical school is expensive.
Sure.
So for their wedding gift, I paid for the counseling with Highland Trust. I don't want to call it counseling, but it was guidance.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is.
Right.
But so they spent a year, and it was either in person or on the via Zoom, talking about what their plans were. How were they going to buy their next car? How are they going to get a down payment for their house? And it has paid tremendous dividends for them. Just in the last 6 months, they've moved into a new home.
Wow.
They have got a new baby.
Yeah.
And
congratulations.
It's just been a great experience for them. It taught them budgeting.
Are you saying you're a grandpa?
I'm saying I'm a grandpa. I'm too young to be a grandpa.
Congratulations, Lee.
I'm still in my 50s.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, and again, I think it opens or sheds light on that conversation we were having, that you do not have to be rich to engage with somebody that can advise you financially. And yes, there are entities that you do have to have a certain financial benchmark to engage with, but there are tools out there like what you did with Highland, or if you want to go to Charles Schwab, if you want to go to Fidelity, and there's tools you can access online to self-educate if you don't have money to hire somebody.
Yeah, and I think what's good about that is that, number one, my kids typically listen to other people better than they listen to me.
Yep.
And number two, there's so much information out there for kids. You know, there's all these apps they can invest on. There's Bitcoin. there's just so many different things, and they need somebody to help guide them with the fundamentals first, getting their foundation set before they go into these riskier investments.
Let's talk about that. That's a great segue into this next subject for us, Amy. So let's talk about short-term goal setting. So if you are a young person, so let's say now you're on your own, you're 18, 20, 22, and you want to invest in a Roth or a traditional IRA, my advice, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, you are, stick to the basics. Don't get enamored with these long shot future Teslas or like you said, Bitcoin. I would say either stick to blue chips or a good solid mutual fund that is diversified, because Lee and I have talked about this before. I don't have a get rich quick scheme. I have a get rich slow scheme.
Right.
And it's just painting by the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's great advice. And, you think about with a 401k plan, and I think one thing we hadn't talked about is a lot of 401k plans now are most off of a Roth component. So somebody working now, instead of creating their own Roth, which has a limited annual contribution, could defer their savings into a Roth 401k plan. But 401k plans have guidelines. They won't let you invest in just anything. They're fiduciaries, and they have very strict requirements. Yep. So I think kind of going by those guidelines with your long-term safe money, your nest egg, you do want to keep those in more safe investments. Then if you have, if your plan says, okay, you have money on the side that you can essentially gamble, and then you can invest in some of those less regulated things.
That's what I tell my boys. My boys are both fully vested in their Roth, and they're doing fantastic with it. And I said, if you want to take 5% and take that swing for the fences,
right,
on something, and I'm not going to say the names, but you know who they are. These are your startup tech companies that are the next greatest thing, that maybe have a 1 in 500 chance of really coming to something. 5% here and there, I'm okay with that. But the bulk of your money, put it into something that sounds, because you can't touch it for 40 years anyways.
Right. And I think you can be aggressive, still be aggressive at a young age without being in those names. Mutual funds can be aggressive, but then what I found is mutual funds aren't exciting. It's hard to uncover what's really in there, so you kind of show the younger person, this is what you own, even though it says XYZ mutual fund. These are the underlying securities within it. But then sometimes it does take, like I did this with my son, just to get him interested in investing. Pick a couple of companies that you like. Unfortunately, he picked Nike and a gaming company that didn't work out well. But it was money.
Was it?
No, but it was money he could afford to lose.
Sure. Yep.
But just to get him exposed to that and to track some companies.
Yeah, I like that. And that's the whole exciting part. Now, when you have this IRA, now you can start looking at, where do I put the money? Lee, any suggestion or ideas that you have for that? Are you a low risk kind of guy, or are you a high risk guy?
Well, I'm in the banking business, so we're conservative. So slow and steady is what I would recommend.
Like
there is no magic bullet. We just want to see people start saving early in life. I mean, we've got a savings account that we put $1 in for you just to help you get started,
just to get going.
Yeah. So as little as that, just to start that systemic savings.
It's discipline. And I think you go back to the IRA, what I tell people when Lee and you and I have done the financial seminars at the high schools, we tell kids, hey, if you can figure out how to set aside $500 a month, when you're working, you have your career, let's say you're making $50,000 a year, and you can set aside $500 a month, and you're disciplined with that over the course of 40 years, there's a path to building a really serious nest egg that really probably you could retire on if you invest it wisely.
And I love just showing the models where if you start at a young age, if you start in your 20s versus if you wait 10 years and start in your 30s, how much less you have to save to get a bigger number at retirement. I mean, it really is eye-opening. Just the earlier you start, the better.
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. My guest is Amy Parrish. She's a senior financial advisor with Highland Trust Partners. Also, Lee Garrett, regional president from Pinnacle Bank. Charlie, what are you taking from this so far? So you're the mother of 2 young girls.
Yes.
Is this kind of resonating with you? Do you think our listeners are connecting with?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just little nuggets that you can take from everything. It's a lot to take in, but it's all such great advice. Like, I know my kids, I mean, they're 9 and 6. They don't have bank accounts. They have little savings accounts because grandparents give them money, tooth fairy money, and I don't want it all in their piggy banks in their room that they think they can just take from all the time. So I've put it in little sub savings accounts on our checking account. So it's little things like that, and I find the hardest part a lot of times is teaching them. I don't know if it's called the value of the dollar, but just because mommy and daddy have money to go do something does not mean you have money to go do something. Mommy and daddy work very hard for our money. So if we want to go out to dinner, we're going to go out to dinner without you guys. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to stay with the babysitter. We're going to order you pizza. Like, you're going to be taken care of. I'm not starving my kids. I mean, please don't misunderstand. But it's this, just because mommy and daddy have money does not mean I have money. And I find that seems to be something I see with a handful of kids, and I'm trying to be very conscious of that with my kids. Of like, we've worked very, very hard, and we're comfortable, I could say, you know. Right. But there's still things that we have to save up for, and that just because we have money to go do things does not mean you two have money to go do things. Right. And I think that's something that's hard to explain to them.
It is. It is, especially if you, like I said, if we've all done better than our parents have done, then it's easy to say, hey, you know what? Let me fill that gap. You know, let me go ahead and write this check or break out the credit card and take care of it, as opposed to making each one of those moments a teaching moment for the kids. One other thing I'll share real quick, and then we'll get some closing comments from everybody as we break in this segment. One thing I did for my boys when they were 18 years old is I told them, hey, I'm going to get your Roth started, and I'll put in a little bit of money. You don't have to put in. I'll put it in. It was actually me and my father. Yeah. So this is our idea. And the way that you pay us back is you never get to quit. Yeah. We don't need to see a dime, but you can never stop contributing. And both boys have followed that.
Great. Wow, that's awesome.
It is. And it's something that kind of got the ball rolling. So when it was their turn, you know, Marcus just got his job over the summer. Matthew's been working for a couple of years. There's some momentum. And so I share this with our listeners. If you're a parent and you have that bandwidth, and I don't care, like Lee said, they put $1 in their savings account at Pinnacle to get you going. I don't care if you put in $10 a month. Yeah. Just put in something so that when they take it over, there's a little momentum and they see that it's on its way. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a great
What do you think of that, Lee? Is that something that's a good starting point for a young person?
Oh, I think it's great. Anything, any amount that you can start with, it just shows them that it teaches them responsibility, that it's theirs, that they take ownership of it, and that they participate in it. That's what you want them to do. You want them to start participating in it early so they have some connection to it.
Absolutely. Amy, I'm going to give you the last word. Any step-by-step advice or roadmap stuff that you have for parents in our closing of this first segment that you want to share with the listeners?
I would just say, and y'all have kind of hit on this, is that start small, and everybody's situation is different. I get asked all the time, how should new married couples handle their finances? And it really is whatever works for you. You know, find the tools, find the system, find the things that you value, and just take the time to share that with your children. Like, again, I would say engage them in that conversation, make them a part of the financial decisions you're trying to make. And one thing that we really didn't talk about, but I'm passionate about, is, and we've kind of hit on this, is when we are doing well, then, and we do have a stewardship mindset and we're giving, let's create a legacy of giving. And I'm really passionate about getting my clients to incorporate their children and grandchildren into their philanthropic goals.
That's excellent.
And because that can last over generations too. Just like you can pass on wealth, you can pass on a legacy of giving.
Absolutely. I think that's a wonderful thing to teach kids, is to participate in that. Amy, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you. It's been so fun.
I know you got to go out and invest some big bucks somewhere and make some, make money for one of your clients. And so I appreciate you taking the moment out of your day. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation with Lee Garrett of Pinnacle Bank, and we're going to dig into now the earning, the spending, the saving side of this. We're going to talk about how to interview. We're going to talk about simple things, going back to what we talked about a minute ago, where not to spend money on the $6 cup of coffee. And we'll really dissect this and give you some more tools to advance your financial strength. We'll be right back.
It's the biggest sale of the year on Black Friday at K&D Shoes and Conyers. From 7 a.m. till noon, save 30%. From noon until close, save 20% store-wide with very few exceptions. Over 50,000 pairs of shoes and boots to choose from for men and women. From name brands like Ariat, Rocky, Georgia Boot, and others. Plus, save on men and women's casual styles from Skechers, Hey Dude, Merle, and others. With cold weather coming, save on outerwear from name brands like Carhartt, Ariat, and more. The first 100 shoppers enjoy free coffee while you save. On Black Friday, the place to be is K&D Shoes, 2250 Dogwood Drive in Conyers, where great deals and great brands come together for one big sale. Some exclusions do apply. See store for all the details. That's K&D Shoes' big Black Friday sale right there in Conyers.
When you walk through the doors of Campton Restaurant, you're not just here for a meal, you're part of a tradition. I'm Josh Parker, 4th generation owner, and for nearly 40 years, families in Walton County and surrounding areas have gathered around our tables to share stories, laughter, and good Southern cooking. From crispy fried chicken to heart-healthy daily specials, there's always a plate waiting with your name on it. We're open Mondays for lunch and Tuesday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. So come on by, make yourself at home, and experience Campton Restaurant, where family tradition meets every meal.
It's already that time again. Time to decide what to gift your office staff, clients, and relatives spread out all across the country for Christmas. Well, that's easy if you choose to go nuts at the Stone Mountain Pecan Company. Online at stonemountainpecan.com. Eat well, be happy.
Real country. This is Q92.3 WMOQ FM, Bostwick, Monroe, Madison. Your home for real country.
Welcome back to the Marc McMain Show. That was a lot of fun. Special thank you to Amy for joining us. Amy Parrish from Highland Trust Partners. Lee Garrett's continuing with us. He's a regional president with Pinnacle Bank. Charlie is in the house with us. Charlie, we've been picking on you for the Duncans.
Do you see what I'm Googling? The latte factor? I'm like, I don't want to know how much I spent, because this is how I justify it to my husband is I'm like, no, I've already added the money in the app. So girl math tells me that it's free because the money is already there. And what Amy said is not true, or is true, and so now I'm like, my whole life is a lie.
We all have our guilty pleasures.
Yeah,
you know.
If only I had just one, though.
So for me, it's ice cream. If I go buy an ice cream joint, I'm going to go knock out a shake or something like that.
That's me. I have a bowl of ice cream every night.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. But see, if you go to an ice cream store, you'll spend $6 or $7 for one serving. You go to the grocery store, $6 or $7 gets you enough for 4 or 5 nights. Lee, let's continue this conversation. So let's shift gears now. So we just spent a half hour talking about investing, and we hit everything from Roth IRAs to 529s and you name it. Let's just talk about real simple, the earning side of the equation. I tell people that there's so much value in going out and getting a job, right? Especially if you're a young person. My first job was at 14. Not everybody has the bandwidth. Some kids are very active at 14,
sports,
15.
Yes, sure, after school. Yeah.
I get that. So it's not for everybody. But Lee, why is earning early, what is that so important?
Well, Mark, I'll just tell you, I mean, life's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Life's hard already. So, if we can figure out a way to expose them to some, to work, oftentimes we see people come into the bank, and banking and the banking industry is just foreign to them. They don't. Their first encounter is when they come in and they've got to buy a car or they're here to buy a house.
Think about that.
And they've never thought about it before. So the earlier we can get them engaged in work and that work atmosphere, it's going to make everything that we do for them and what we can provide them a lot less intimidating. Because we know people are a little bit frightened to come into the bank about what are they going to do.
It can be very intimidating. Yeah, it can be.
We do not want it that way.
No.
And it's really care about their best interest, and we want to help.
For 100%.
We talked about allowance, so we'll kind of skip over that. Let's go back to something that you and I have always hit on hard when we talk about financial literacy with the high school students that you and I have spoken to in the past, Lee. The importance of let's say you want to get a job, and it could be something simple. You want to go cut yards for the local landscaper, you want to go work at the grocery store, whatever it may be. Preparing for that interview, looking the part. Walk us through that.
Well, first thing I will always tell you is please be on time. Please be on time for that interview.
Yep.
That's the one thing that everybody can do. My dad would tell me when we were growing up, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
That's what I tell my girls. On time is late. So if you need to be 15 minutes early, I mean, that's what I teach them now.
Yep.
And we talk about it. Appearance is important. No matter which way you want to cut it, we make impressions on the first time we see you.
That's right.
And funny you mentioned that, because I have been at a store in downtown Monroe where I'm checking out. Somebody walks in to ask for an application. It's June, July. They are wearing fleece pajamas, hair in the messiest bun, worse than mine right now, and they're asking for a job application. That first impression is not at the interview. That first impression is literally the first time they see you.
That's right. I mean, you don't know who you're talking to. Mm-hmm. Why would you not put your best foot forward no matter what?
I don't understand it. Mm-hmm. It's before the interview.
Look, I've seen college graduates come to interviews for my companies, and I'm stunned as to their appearance. And I hate that because it cannot be a decision they're making. It's just something they're not thinking about. There's no way that they woke up and said, hey, I'm going to dress poorly for this interview today.
But why are they not thinking about that? You know, like I don't, maybe it's a parenting thing. They're not being taught the importance of this. I don't know.
You would think that would actually be a class in college, no matter what your degree
high school,
is.
Yeah, like you learn to write a check. I mean, I don't know if people do that anymore, but like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. There's other things being taught.
Yeah.
Where'd that money go? We don't experience as much. I mean, when you go into the bank, most of the time everybody's dressed fairly nice. So if you're coming to the bank for an interview, you're normally dressed nice. But I've seen that when they're coming in asking for, are there jobs available, or is there an internship? You know, they're coming in their flip flops.
And you know, and you're going to remember them.
You know,
this is not a good fit. Yeah, this is not a good fit.
So you go out, you get a job, you're working, and I don't care again if you're a young kid, if you're 10 years old and you're doing chores, or if you're 15 and you've got a legitimate job and you're working at the grocery store and you're getting a paycheck. We talked about investing. Let's talk about deposit earnings. So you come in, you open an account at the bank. Walk us through that, Lee.
Well, it's very easy to open an account. You know, we're going to pay you a nominal amount of interest. We have an interest-bearing checking account, but we have free checking accounts, and that's usually the first entry is a free checking account, and they're able to open that. Then it usually evolves into an interest-bearing checking account, then to a money market, which would pay a premium rate. Right now, just for reference, you know, if you have a substantial amount of your money market, say over $10,000, you can earn as much as 3%.
Really?
On the money market today. So
well, that's considerably higher than. Matter of fact, when you and I were doing this a couple of years ago, I think it was like 0.6, 0.8%.
Yeah. When we did this a couple of years ago, rates had plummeted. The Fed funds rate was 0 to 0.25%.
Wow.
And now you're looking at a Fed funds rate around that 3% mark.
Wow.
What is the minimum to open just a real simple banking savings checking account for a bank typically?
We like to see you have $100.
Yeah, there you go.
That's easy. Yeah. I mean, that's cutting a couple lawns, selling some lemonade.
Yep.
You know, that's something. I feel like that's attainable.
It is attainable, and honestly, if you come in with $10 or $50, we're going to get the account open for you. We want to get you started. We're here to help you. We're not here to put barriers up to get you in. We want you banking with us.
Yeah.
We want to care. We want you to get started, and that gives you that entry, so we can start helping you on your financial path.
So you've applied for a job. You're making money. You go to the bank. You open an account, and now you're starting to plug away a couple bucks. You're saving money. I think that's, we'll kind of get into the saving side in this next segment here. Now, you've been working for the company for 6 months, and let's say you're killing it, or at least in your mind, you're killing it.
Sure.
Let's talk about asking for that raise.
Yeah. Well, asking for the raise, Mark, you and I have talked about this before. If you're doing your job, if you're excelling, if you're doing the things you're supposed to do, going above, I've never, ever had to ask for a raise.
You got recognized for
I got
for
recognized for the hard work, for keeping your nose to the grindstone, for doing the right things, for simply, not just for showing up, but for showing up and doing a little bit extra. But that would be my advice, is to work hard enough where you're never having to ask for that raise.
It's recognized.
I cannot tell you how you can how easy it is to rise to the top. Going back to what you said a minute ago, showing up early and working hard. You don't have to be the best at what you do. Again, let's boil this down to something simple. You could be working at a grocery store and you could be the grocery bagger. Maybe you're not the best grocery bagger. It wasn't your calling in life. But showing up early for work and having a great attitude.
Great attitude. That makes such a difference.
Looking sharp and working hard.
Trying your best.
You will rise to the top.
Every time.
Yeah. And it frustrates me when I go into a place of business and it could be a fast food joint that you go in and you're immediately greeted by poor attitude. Now, I completely recognize that, you never know what that person's going through. Right?
100%. But there's also something to be said of leaving it at the door.
Leave it at the door.
You get up in the morning and you can choose how you're going to show up.
For sure.
You can look in that mirror and decide what's my attitude going to be like today. We talk about that all the time with our employees. We know they have things going on, but you know what? Our customers that come in, you have no idea what's going on in their life, so we've got to put our best foot forward.
You do. You leave it at the door. I've been in radio a long time. I went to work having a miscarriage. It is hard, but you just leave it at the door and you just make it through, and then you fall apart in the car.
Right.
Like that's like that's what you do. You cry all the way home.
Oh, that's I didn't know that, Charles. That's
no,
tough. But think about it. I mean, that is
you just have to go on.
And I think y'all see it. You go into places and you're greeted with a poor attitude. And I want to tell that young person, and I typically don't. I don't. Not my place to engage. I'm not their manager, but I want to tell them, you are your own worst enemy when you do this, because if you continue down that path of being sour, you're not going to get the raise. You're not going to get the promotion. And it will never get better on its own. It's not like some magic wand's going to be waved and everything's going to get fixed. You got to start with yourself and you got to fix it.
I have a quick story from this morning, actually, and this was not particularly anybody interviewing, but I do have a home for sale that I'm selling myself. So I had a realtor call me, and he left me a message and asked me. He said he was calling about my crib that I had for sale.
Oh my gosh!
So
we are not on the same page. We are not the same generation.
You saw a crib that you're getting rid of.
Exactly.
Wow.
It doesn't take long to go onto my LinkedIn page to go to Pinnacle Bank to figure out who you're talking to.
Right.
Immediately that voicemail was deleted.
Yeah, like we're not speaking the same language.
He's not going to get the business. That's right. Oh, that's classic. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest, Lee Garrett, Regional President, Pinnacle Bank. Charlie Morgan is in studio with us. Chastity, you're being awfully quiet over there, Chastity. You got something you want to jump in with?
Sorry. No, I'm listening. I'm taking notes. It's wonderful.
There's a lot of financial genius in this room right now.
We're talking a lot. We're not really giving her a little leeway to get in.
You want to jump in, you just let us know, Chastity. Let's close this segment out with this, Lee. The pride of having a bank account, the owning a bank account, I think that means a lot. And again, it may be a very humble beginning, maybe $100 deposit that you open your bank account with. But tell us about that.
Well, we think having that bank account is important. I think the number one thing is that you've come into the bank, you've opened that account, and you've started a relationship with someone. You've opened that account, you've talked to that personal banker. They're listening, or they should be listening to the clues you have, what's going on in your life, what's next for you. Hopefully they're establishing a path. But being there and being able to, when you open that first account, that helps you start the communication process, learning how to interact with people. You talked about the interviewing, and I've run into it time and time again, in people scheduling things and people calling me wanting things. I get a text, because people do not know how to communicate any longer. Yeah. So opening that account is your first time that you get to come in there and talk to someone, talk about what's going on in your life, why you're opening the account, and in return, you've established a relationship. So when you get ready to buy that car, when you get ready to buy that house, when you get ready to invest that,
they know who you are.
IRA, they know, and you know someone. It makes it a lot more comfortable.
For sure.
Than it being intimidating to walk in to see that big vault at the bank.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, we're going to dig deeper into savings. We're going to talk about what you can do as a parent if you want to open a custodial savings account, not an investment account like we were talking about earlier, but a savings account for your children. We'll be right back.
There's something about a clock. It keeps working even when you don't think about it. All day, all night. Behind the clock is a machine you'll never see. Always reliable, always accurate. It wasn't a mistake when we named our heating and air company Clockwork. Yeah, some folks call us and ask if we can fix their watches. We can't. But we can fix your furnace and air conditioning brilliantly, so it runs like a clock. Runs when you're not even thinking about it. But there's something else about the clock in Clockwork Heating and Air Conditioning. We have mad respect for time. We make ourselves available on your time. We never waste your time. And we're at your house in a timely manner. This is what it means to work like clockwork. Clockwork Heating and Air Conditioning. Clockwork-air.com.
Get a great deal on a Kubota tractor. Built to work, built to last, and as dependable as you are. Right now, write it off the lot and write it off your taxes with 0 down, 5.49% APR up to 84 months, plus instant cash discount and 2 years orange protection warranty. Now through December 31st. Consult your tax advisor. Details at KubotaUSA.com.
Your Kubota dealer is Hayes Tractor, 545 Highway 11 South and Social Circle. Go to HayesTractor.com.
Your call is very important.
Still waiting on your cable company to care? With slow speeds and hidden fees, maybe it's time to pull the plug. Kinetic gives you 100% fiber and gig speeds with 25 times faster uploads than cable. Local service that actually shows up, and clear pricing that isn't there to surprise you. So ditch cable and connect with the right crowd. Get up to $200 when you switch. Visit GoKinetic.com. Kinetic. Internet better. Subject to availability. Terms and conditions apply.
Tailgate season is here, and your tailgate one-stop shop is Stripling's General Store in Bogart. You'll find everything you need to make your tailgate a huge success. There's barbecue, chicken, fresh-cut meats, side dishes like Brunswick stew, potato salad, snacks, cold beverages, ice, and so much more. Proud to support high school sports, it's Stripling's General Store, Highway 78 East and Highway 53 in Bogart, open 7 days a week.
April Lynn here inviting you to join me and Les Lane on November the 22nd from 10 until 1 at Franklin's in Athens for the Julio Memorial Can Drive. There'll be lots of giveaways like tickets to Stone Mountain Real Country t-shirts, and Franklin's will be giving away to the one that brings the most canned goods a Ruger semi-automatic rifle. Second place will be a SIG Optic Buckmaster scope, and third place will be a $50 gift card. Must be 18 and over. We'll be live on location with Real Country.
And welcome back to the Marc McMain Show. We're continuing our conversation of financial literacy for young people. It could be children, it could be teenagers, it could be young adults, it could be old adults. I don't really care. If you are struggling financially, we're trying to provide you some tools to get ahead. Our guest is Lee Garrett, Regional President with Pinnacle Bank. Lee, let's talk about young people savings. So we talked a second ago about if you're 18, 20, 22, and you're just trying to get yourself going. So let's say you're the parent of a 5-year-old and you want to open a custodial savings account, not an investment account, but a savings account. How do we do that?
Very simple. Our particular product is called the Captain Summit Checking.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
And you can bring it whatever amount you want to, but we go ahead and give you $1 to get it started.
Get it rolling.
Yep.
Yeah, get it rolling. We give them a little toy when they come in, and it's very exciting for them. We give them something each time they come in to make a deposit.
Oh, that's so cool.
That is cool. Yeah.
I like that.
I love that. Yeah, that fosters that enthusiasm. Did those those accounts for young people, are they interest bearing, or what kind of perks do they have?
They are interest bearing, and that's what you need to be on the lookout for. You need to find an account that has number one, no fees, because it's going to have a very small balance. No fees, a small minimum amount to open, like ours is $1. So,
perfect.
A way to systematically make deposits for them, whether it be on the mobile deposit or whether you come into the bank, but just a way to go ahead, or maybe have it debited from the parent's account. So there's something systemically going in there.
Oh, that's smart.
And then the other thing to do is a lot of times we have customers who have their checking account, they round it up, and whatever they round up to the nearest dollar, it goes into the savings account. They can have that directed into their kid's savings account. And it's a few cents, but every day that adds up.
Well, just seeing that number, right, and saying, hey, this is money that's coming in. A funny story I remember, because we got Marcus started on a similar type deal very young, Matthew and Marcus, and I want to say they were 5 and 6 years old, and same thing, we put in $10 to get them going.
Sure.
And we'll talk about that in a second. Do parents, should they match? So the boys would be so disciplined if they got $100 for their birthday. I would tell them, hey, spend 10 on yourself and bank 90. And I remember when Marcus got to $1,200 in his savings account, he says, I have $1,200.
Oh.
Well, we used to tell people, our kids, oh, look, you got a comma now in your statement.
That's a bit, hey, I remember getting a comma in my checking account. I was big time, and you couldn't tell me nothing.
You're rolling at that
I
point.
thought so, yeah.
One other thing just to mention as we talk about the balances, make sure, like on our kids' savings account, the Captain Summit, it earns interest on the smallest amount. It does not have a minimum balance. It earns interest daily. It's paid quarterly. So make sure that you open that savings account and make sure it's paid on even the smallest balance, that it doesn't have a minimum balance to pay the interest.
I got you. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, because again, you're trying to build this enthusiasm of, hey, watch your money grow. What about matching contributions? Do you think if the parent has the bandwidth, is that a good idea or is that cheating?
Well, if it's cheating, I think it's a good idea anyway. I think if they do, I think it shows them, it encourages them to save. I mean, if they're depositing some money on their own, then they're going to get more. It's like paying the interest. We're going to talk about paying interest. It's it's compounding on what you're already doing.
Well, the reason I like it is because what young people understand, if you go to work for some companies, and really a lot of companies offer this now, is they will match up to a certain point for you to contribute to an IRA or 401k.
401k. My company did that before. I was like, they matched it.
Yeah,
so I would be silly not to do it.
That's right.
The more you contribute, the higher the percentage is. So you might contribute 3 to get 3, but if you contribute 5, you might get 8.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
So I think a good lesson for parents here right now is again, no matter where your financial bandwidth is, if your son or daughter, you open a custodial account, they're 5, they're 7, they're 10 years old, you're trying to reinforce these saving habits. Start with birthdays, Christmas, when they get cash. Do not let them spend all the money. Tell them, hey, you can spend 20% of it, buy yourself a toy, and bank the rest. And then I like the idea of, if you have the bandwidth, if they're willing to put in $50, put in $5. Match a little bit to kind of give them that momentum to get them going. Yeah. Because once they start seeing that number grow, and that number gets from 100 to 500 and gets to $1,000, you're going to see a light bulb go off in young people's heads.
Oh yeah, it's free money. I mean, we're paying you to come in and deposit money with us.
Yep.
And what we do explain to people when they come in, and this is really a key concept, especially for community banks. People who come in and invest in their local community bank, we get to explain to them that we're taking your deposits, and then we're taking that money and we're reinvesting in your community. We're making loans to consumers, we're making loans to businesses to help grow the economy. So you're not only getting money compounded, the interest to your account, but you're also helping other people and growing the community and helping it prosper.
Yep, I love that. You listen to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Lee Garrett, Regional President with Pinnacle Bank. Charlie, there's so many moving parts and so many directions I want to take this conversation, and I've got this clipboard in front of me to keep me in mind. If there's something that you want to jump in with, again, because you're the parent of some young children.
Two little ones, and I love that Captain's Account idea. Captain Summit, yes, I love that idea, because they've gotten to the point where they're not big spenders. I guess I've done a poor job. That must mean my husband and I are buying everything for them because they're not big spenders. But they have all the money squished into their little literal piggy banks. And so I took that money a couple of weeks ago, put it in our checking account, and then just divided it into like little sub accounts. And so that's how I was going to keep track of it. But I'm like, I think that the savings account is the way to go.
I think you're ready. Yeah.
I think they would like that a lot more, because they're not wanting, maybe $5 here, like we were talking about at the book fair, but overall, they're not wanting to spend their money. So that might be what we need to do.
And they get a nice little reward.
That's right.
I know, they will love that.
They get a free gift and a reward when they come in to make a deposit.
Am I too old to get the $1?
Right. I'm thinking that too.
We need more than that.
Let's talk about saving percentages, Lee. So, and again, we can break this into two categories. We talked about the young person getting birthday money, and the, I say spend 20%, bank 80%. Let's fast forward to a teenager who's working. What do you think is a good percentage? And let's take into account, let's assume that the teenager doesn't have financial responsibilities above and beyond their own, personal needs.
Sure.
So they're not contributing to mom and dad's rent, or they're, and let's face it, there's some teenagers that have to help.
There's yeah. When I was in high school, I worked at a restaurant. I worked at Provino's in Snellville, and so I got an hourly rate, but then I also got tip outs. So my hourly rate went right into my checking account, whereas the tip outs was the money I quote lived on. That was going to the movies, that was gas money, but I didn't have to pay for my insurance for my car. So I was very lucky. Whereas some of my friends, they had to pay half of their insurance and that kind of stuff.
They had to pitch in. So what's a good saving percentage? What do you see?
Well, they're still. I would imagine that if they've got a job, most parents are going to make them pay for their gas and some of their spending money. So they're going to have some of that. I think when I think of what percentage is appropriate, you go back to the biblical term. We tithe 10%. So why wouldn't 10% be the number? Why wouldn't we continue that? It's an easy round number. You talked about, hey, they put in 50. I'm going to give them 5.
Right.
Just a minute ago. So 10% seems like a good number. They put that in checking, take 10% of whatever they're making, start that savings account.
I think that's a great number to go with. And if you're a parent, and even if you're a parent of a kid who's, say, 15, 16 years old, if you can, and if you've never once taught your children anything about financial literacy, don't think that it's too late to still teach them. If they're still into your household, there's tools that you have to encourage them to be wise with their money. even if you haven't been the wisest yourself as a parent.
There's always room to grow and change. Yeah.
And don't be afraid to talk about it. Share with them as much as you can. I mean, I know you're not going to want to disclose your income, but share with them what things cost so they understand that. You know, we assume my kids grew up in a banking environment, and you think that they know, but they don't. You know, you tend to leave your work at work, and you don't talk about that at home. But I would encourage people just to be cognizant of thinking about what they're spending their money on, what it took to get in their home, what it takes to buy a car. Be open with that without disclosing too much.
Sure. I remember a few months ago we were talking to our kids about something, and they're like, you have to pay for this house every month? And I was like, yes, every month. Like, you just did it. I was like, no, every month we have to pay for the power. Like, you turn the light switch on, you turn the TV on, that's Disney Plus, we have to pay for that every single month.
It all adds up.
It blows their mind. They take for granted that they turn the switch on, the power's on, and they have a nice house to go to. You know, they don't think about it.
Right.
Well, let's shift gears for a second for the remainder of this segment here, because I had some notes set aside. I don't know if I have all the notes, but I've got the crux of this, and this gives us some statistics. Lee, you and I pounded on these back when we would go do the financial literacy courses. According to Bankrate's most recent report, only 46% of U.S. adults have enough emergency savings to cover 3 months of expenses. That's half of our population. If something big comes along, it wipes them out. And that is a frightening number, Lee.
It really is. You know, there's no magic bullet like we talked about It's about this savings and what it would avoid. You know, we want people to have savings so they do have those emergency funds, because what we see too often when people come in and they do need to buy the house, they do need to buy the car, well, they've had an emergency and all of a sudden they've used credit cards and they've got these huge credit card bills, and they're paying 30% interest.
Ooh,
and that's what most of them are now. You're paying 30% interest on most credit cards.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying, there goes your disposable income.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Completely.
A few years ago, we started a savings, started really putting away towards savings account. And that came in very handy when, very unexpectedly, I went to work and was laid off.
Right.
And it took a while for, to get back on your feet. But it was like that savings was kind of how we lived for a little bit to supplement.
Think you have to. I think that we're in a society that we see, there's so much information available. You see what everyone else has got. It's almost expected, but we don't expect the pitfalls. We don't plan for them.
You don't plan for them. It's 100% right. Yeah.
So the starting with the savings account has got to be the way you do it, and not rely on these credit cards. Credit cards are great in an extreme emergency if you're out of town and you've got to have it, but not for these common emergencies come in when the air conditioner goes out, when the transmission goes out on the car, that you're spending a minimum of $2,000 no matter what.
Yeah. Well, here's another shocking statistic: 24% of adults have no emergency savings at all.
That's scary.
And so that means one dishwasher breaking down or a car repair puts you in the red. And so I think this is, again, it's reversible. What Dave Ramsey, I know, likes to promote, I don't know what that number is now, he would talk about a $25,000 emergency fund. Not everybody can get to that point, but what's a good starter fund for a young family? Where do they need to be? Is $5,000 enough to kind of get you through the rough patches?
I think if they can have the $5,000, it's tremendous. It's a matter of maintaining that. There's going to be that emergency. You're going to use it. Okay, are you disciplined enough to replenish it?
Right.
And that's where we talk about the rounding up. I mean, go ahead and let, in your checking account, take advantage of it if you get the opportunity to round up for that to go into the savings account, so you continue to replenish those savings accounts to get depleted when those emergencies and those life
and they're going to
events
happen.
Come. Yeah, they're going to come.
They found that 37% of Americans used their emergency funds in the past 12 months. So that means, and when you have children, those emergencies can look different, right? So maybe it's not an appliance breaking down in a car. Maybe it's a broken leg,
a medical bill. Yeah,
that can wipe you out. We're going to get into credit card debt, but let's touch on this for a second. Here's another shocking number. 33% of U.S. adults have more credit card debt than they have in emergency savings.
Oh.
So you hit on that second go, Lee.
Yeah. So
now you go back to that ultra high interest rate that you're paying if you're not paying that off every month. There goes all your money.
It does. A lot of this increase in the rise in credit card debt is goes back to COVID. Money was readily available. They were getting a check in the mail all the time for something. We have seen it's been an interesting phenomenon to watch. We have over 55,000 checking accounts across Northeast Georgia.
Wow!
And we have watched the average balance go at the height of COVID, somewhere between $7,500 to $8,000 per account. We're now at $5,000 or below.
Big difference.
Yeah. Huge difference. And so where's the money coming from now? It's coming from those credit cards. That's why we're seeing credit card debt go up so high.
It's just eating into that money.
Yeah. I mean, think about you put your latte on your credit card. It's a $6 latte. Yeah, I'm going to keep coming back to this. But you put your latte on there, a $6 latte. You don't pay it off at the end of the month. That latte is now $8 or $9, and then it doesn't get paid off again. That's $12. You know what I'm saying? Like it can really.
How tasty is that coffee?
It's cookie butter espresso. It was pretty good.
It's $9 worth of savings.
$9 worth. Oh, you're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, now we're going to shift gears. We'll talk about spending and how we can kind of shift these habits so that you can build savings and that you're not wasting your hard-earned money. We'll be right back.
Ready to grow your small business and reach thousands of new customers? Say hello to Town Values Magazine, formerly MTM Shopper, proudly serving the community for 22 years. Every month, thousands of magazines are mailed directly to homes in Walton, Oconee, Barrow, Rockdale, Newton, Gwinnett, and beyond to further expand your reach. Our magazine is packed with valuable coupons and services offered, helping families save money while supporting the community they love. We specialize in local direct marketing that works, building your brand, driving sales, and connecting you with the customers who matter most. Plus, we're online at townvalues.com and on Facebook and Instagram, giving your business even more exposure in print and digital. Ready to reserve your space in the next edition? Call Liliana at 770-267-6650. Town Values Magazine. Local, trusted, powerful. Helping businesses grow and families save.
Pony Express Liquidators is the place to visit before you make any purchase if you're remodeling or building a new home. They have great deals on just about everything you'll need and up to 50% off the big box stores. Bathroom vanities, bathroom sinks and kitchen sinks, windows, hardware, and still-in-the-box doors and screen doors. Now that's what I was looking for. 2 locations to serve you: 361 Fundenberg Drive in Monticello or Highway 11 in Mansfield.
Historic Rutledge Hardware is your one-stop shop for lawn and garden. They have soil, mulch, fertilizer, herbicide, pesticides, bonnie plants, flowers, and so much more. They've got you covered for your home improvement projects like painting supplies, power tools, plumbing, and electrical. They're even a Carolina cooker dealer offering cast iron cookware and stew pots, commercial cooking smallware, camper supplies, and so much more. Rutledge Hardware, making customers happy since 1891. Located at 116 Fairplay Street in Rutledge.
Leadfoot Mulching and Grading offers land clearing, hauling of gravel and sand, and more. And now offering screen topsoil for the farmer or homeowner, asphalt paving, and more. No job is too big or small. Locally owned and operated, it's Leadfoot Mulching and Grading, serving all of North Georgia. Fair prices and great customer service. Phone 404-909-5227 or go to leadfootmulching.com.
When you walk through the doors of Campton Restaurant, you're not just here for a meal, you're part of a tradition. I'm Josh Parker, 4th generation owner, and for nearly 40 years, families in Walton County and surrounding areas have gathered around our tables to share stories, laughter, and good Southern cooking. From crispy fried chicken to heart-healthy daily specials, there's always a plate waiting with your name on it. We're open Mondays for lunch and Tuesday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. So come on by, make yourself at home, and experience Campton Restaurant, where family tradition meets every meal.
Madison Flooring, located at 1167 Eatonton Road in Madison, is your full-service and professional installation center for all kinds of flooring, from tile, carpet, laminate, wood. They even do showers. They have granite and quartz countertops. All military, police, firefighters, and teachers ask for your discount. Madison Flooring is locally owned and operated. For knowledgeable and friendly service, call 706-431-5152.
Are you considering selling your house or land, or perhaps find your dream home? Call Stacy McCullers, your trusted real estate expert. With 12 years of experience and a lifelong connection to Walton County, Stacy is here to help you every step of the way. Whether you're buying or selling, she's available anytime to make your real estate journey smooth and successful. Don't wait. Call today, 678-859-6336. A member of Malcolm & Malcolm Realty Professionals. Stacy McCullers, your realtor for life.
And welcome back to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Lee Garrett. He is a regional president with Pinnacle Bank. Charlie Morgan's in-house with me, and Chastity is on the boards, barely getting a chance to contribute because we're over here yapping so much.
So sorry, Chastity.
No.
Yeah, we're covering a lot of real estate today.
So informative.
So we've covered really the gamut. We talked about investing. We talked about earning. We talked about saving. We even talked about interviews and how to properly go and get a job. So let's say you've got your job, and we're going to fast forward now. We're bouncing all over in the age range, but we're going to talk about either late teens or early 20s. You've got your job. You're making money. You've opened a bank account. You're saving money. This is where the rubber meets the road, and that's in spending money. And this is where you can really just blow all the hard work that you've done. You can blow it quickly. So, Lee, let's talk first about needs versus wants, because I think as Americans we have lost focus on this.
We have. We've lost all concept of what a true need is. I mean, everything is so readily available. We've set up, by and large, you think about the society we live in. We've been very fortunate. Everybody here is very fortunate, and we see it every day. It's thrown up in the various social media platforms that you have. That it's almost everything has become expected versus earning it.
Yeah, right. I've heard Ben Stein talk about you know who Ben Stein is. I don't know if he's an economist, but he's a brilliant financial mind. And he said even the poor class in the United States have a roof overhead, probably have air conditioning, probably have a mattress and a cell phone, maybe even have a car, right? And that could be somebody that's in the actual poverty bracket
threshold,
And so in the United States, we really don't understand. You want to see poor travel to Mexico, right? That's true poverty that I can see. If you deviate off the main path, you will see poverty to the likes that we do not understand here. So again, none of this is designed to make us feel bad, but we have to come to grips with there are certain things you do not need to have. When I was 20 years old, Lee, I didn't have a cell phone, and I was just fine.
You didn't. I think about kids that you stop by and you go by the Chick-fil-A. I got to have these nuggets. Well, do you really?
Yeah.
Do you have to?
Right.
I'm sure Mom and Dad spent last night cooking for them. There's some leftovers in the refrigerator.
There is. We don't have McDonald's money. We don't need it. We got hamburgers and chicken nuggets at home. That's right. Now the grandparents have the McDonald's money.
Yeah, exactly. I think teaching that lesson about that is not something you have to have right now. We can, you will survive if we get home and we have to have the leftovers from last night.
Well, and let's dig deeper on the phone and electronics, because this is where I think the average American has really started to see their money dissipate. So you have a cell phone. Let's say you must have a cell phone, and I would agree with that. That it's almost a must to have a cell phone. Do you have to have a smartphone where you're on social media all day? No, you don't have to have that. If you need a cell phone to communicate, you can still get a flip phone. Right. They exist. You get a minimal plan. That way you can contact somebody. You're contactable. But here's where the money starts to go quick. Do you need Spotify? Do you need all the apps? In these apps, it's only $3 here, $5 here, $10 there.
And their subscriptions. They all have the subscriptions.
They add up. They add up quick.
Yep.
And then let's go to the TV services, Lee.
Yeah. We were thinking about that, when Disney and ESPN went off of YouTube TV, how am I going to see the Bulldogs play on Saturday? Well, I immediately go and sign up for Hulu, the Disney bundle, so I had ESPN.
So you had that, yeah.
Well, I didn't need that. I didn't need that. I could have found another way to do that, but I immediately went and did that.
But let's think about that. So here you are. You have the means. You've been successful. You've gone through your tough times. You've been through the trenches of life. So you've earned that right to say, hey, there's a perk that I want, and I'm going to spend $30 a month for that perk. But if you are 16 years old, or you are 18 years old, or you're 22 and you're trying to start a family or to get on your own, you do not need this stuff.
You don't.
And the hardest challenge that you will have as an American citizen is stepping away from these unnecessary things that you think are necessary while your friends still have them.
That's hard
It's
because
hard.
we are an instant gratification, show me, almost spoiled kind of generation life right now. My husband, when he was in school, didn't have TV. I mean, he had a TV, but was not paying for the cable or whatever. So anytime he wanted to watch a tech game or whatever, we had to go to Locos. We had to go to Hooter, wherever we could catch the game.
Turn in FM radio.
Yes. I mean, it was, this was in Macon. There was not a lot in Macon. But it was just.
You're right. People are spoiled. It really is. And I will tell you from a banking perspective, we get to see a lot of things that the public doesn't see. Things are absolutely not as they seem. Most of the time, they're not as they seem.
Yep.
Well, and I own Town Values Magazine. It's a coupon magazine, so I'm a huge advocate for taking advantage of any discounts that are available to you. And it was interesting to watch my boys because they saw us use coupons our entire life. Even, when it was tough times and good times, we still had the discipline of using coupons and saving money
Save
where
when
we
you
could.
can.
And so when they were in college, they're both like, I ain't got time to mess with that. Now that they're each on their own, they're both have become incredibly savvy when it comes to
Google
spending their
those
money.
promo codes. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of that.
I just simply don't buy anything. If it's not on sale, I don't have a coupon.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
I don't either. No.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And listen to this. Lee, you and I have had a certain level of success in life, and I assigned to the exact same mentality. If it is not on sale, I do not part with my money. That's right. I mean, unless it's something like if Liliana sends me to the store to get an ingredient for a meal she's making, and I get to Publix and it's not on sale, I cringe.
Yeah. You buy the Publix brand.
Well, I tried that once. I tried buying the off-brand once, and that.
Well, some things it matters.
Liliana said, "Never again."
Yeah, some things it matters.
But I'm disciplined enough at this age and this phase of my life to still not spend unnecessary money. And we cannot emphasize enough: if you are a young person, you have to develop those habits. If you want some sense of financial freedom in life, you have to learn at a young age, or at some point, to not spend unnecessary money. Another thing, how many times have you been in a convenience store, maybe to pick up a newspaper, and you see somebody doing their grocery shopping from a convenience store?
Yeah.
Use that debit card at the gas pump, and then you don't have to go in.
Don't go in. Yeah. Because you always need a drink, then the kids want snacks, and it's just we're not convenience store people. I am paying at the pump. Y'all are staying in the car because it's $20. It's $20 that we don't need the candy. We still have Halloween candy at our house. I'm not buying you candy.
Or you buy the $3 single serving of Mountain Dew, where you can get a 6-pack
for the
in the same store.
Yes.
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Lee Garrett, Regional President for Pinnacle Bank. Lee, let's talk about budget. And if I'm going too fast or something you want to jump back on, don't hesitate, because we're bouncing all over the place. But a parent, you have children, I don't care if they're 5, they're 15, teaching them how to budget, even if you yourself have been poor at budgeting. How important is that?
I think it's all relative, Mark. I think people have different means, but a budget is hugely important. You've got to know. You got to set a goal first. You've got to know where you're going to be. You got to know, okay, I'm saving the 10%. Well, how? You have to go line by line, item by item on every expense. We were talking about, I have to pay the power bill every month. I have to pay the mortgage every month. You've almost got to line by line. And I think that's where parents need to share those expenses with their kids and say, okay, after all this is paid, this is what's left.
Yep.
Wow. So it's going to be it's relative, and we've got some great tools at the bank. We have a easy, simple calculation that helps them come up with what their disposable income is, and that gives them a picture of what they truly can spend each month.
Well, that's part of the practice that you and I do when we go speak to the high school students. Is we'll close that hour segment with teenagers, and we'll do that budget. We put it on the screen, and we say, hey, you got to spend X on rent, food, car insurance, whatever it may be. And that's an eye-opener. You want to show that to a 17-year-old who's about to graduate, and maybe is they have no safety net, right? Maybe this is a kid that's coming from a family that they are going to be on their own, in a year.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's always a light bulb moment when we see these kids, I've got to prepare for that.
Well, I mean, I think it starts with things as simple as when, kids, they still go to the theater, don't they? They still go to the movie theater.
I don't know. We were talking about the book fair.
Yeah.
My kids at the book fair, I gave them $10 each. They wanted to buy erasers and pens, and I was like, no, it's book money, but also you go do you. Yep. You go do you and budget it.
Yeah, well, I think that starts with it. Okay, I've got to buy the movie ticket. That's the first cost. I'm probably taking a date there, or I'm taking somebody with me. I'm going to buy that. Then I've got to calculate for the for the popcorn and the candy. Boy, it adds up fast.
It does.
And, you know, their kids are so used to, I'm going to the movies today, I can have some money.
Right.
Well, stop and just do something practical and ask, okay, do you know how much this ticket costs? Do you know how much this popcorn is going to cost? Let them stand. I mean, that's just a small budget, but if you continually do that and reinforce that, it will build some great habits.
I think that's a skill set that the earlier you can get that implemented, I agree with you, Lee, that is something that goes a long ways. Let's talk about credit cards. We touched on it earlier. I know you have a philosophy on credit versus debit. Take us through that.
Yeah, debit cards are great. I think we want you, well, selfishly, the bank makes money on the interchange fee, so we want you to use your debit card. But that debit card is coming out of your checking account. It's not, you're not borrowing it. It may cost you some interest because you're not earning it if it's in an interest-bearing checking account. But when you use that debit card, that is cash. That's your money that you've used versus a credit card that immediately, when that thing's swiped, it starts earning interest that day. So it's I think debit cards they do a lot of things. Strangely enough, still 9 times out of 10, the fraud we see in the bank is check fraud.
Really?
Wow.
People writing checks.
So debit cards are pretty safe.
Debit cards are very safe, and they're even more safe now that you can do the tap to pay or the chip. Those are much safer. The swiping can be a little dangerous sometimes. So if you can tap to pay or you can use the chip, that's the safest way.
Wow. Okay.
And here's one reason.
It's the cheapest way, too. You might get an interchange fee or you might get charged 35 cents for a transaction, but that's a lot less than 30% on a credit card.
Well, I think the value of that, too, is it can help prevent impulse spending. So if you have a debit card and you have $300 in your account, you know what your limit is.
Right.
If you have a credit card and you have $300 in your bank account, but you have a credit limit of $1,500, then you could be at the department store and buy that television you don't need to be buying.
Right.
And that's where you get into trouble. So let's talk about a second about preventing impulse spending. So we talked about the little stuff. We talked about going to the grocery store, being wise, not doing your grocery shopping from the convenience store, the memberships at the various Netflix and you name it that just eat into your disposable income. Let's talk about the big stuff for a minute. So you are at a department store and you see that 55-inch TV and the football games come up and you're dying to have it and the TV's $800 or whatever a TV goes for nowadays. How do we curb ourselves again from, do we need that or do we want that?
We talk about everything's really simple though, Mark. Just walk away. Walk away. Don't buy it right there. It's not going anywhere. Walk away. Take an hour.
You are very true. Very true.
Well, walk away because I do want that 65, that 70-inch TV.
Right.
But if you just take the time to walk away and evaluate what happened, maybe you do need it at some point. Maybe you do have the excess.
It's hard though.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And there will always be a deal. Don't ever feel that deal is a one day only or it's just a limited time.
It will be back.
It will be back.
Especially online, you can track prices now to see like the last 30 days, the last 60 days,
Vitally
how
important.
much something was. And it's like, I think this is a deal, but turns out on October 18th, it was $30 cheaper. So I'm going to wait,
But that's a
things
good
like
point,
that.
Charlie. Anytime I go to spend any quantity of money, say over a couple $100, I go and I research.
For sure. I want to know the price history.
Well, I love Costco. I go there a lot. And there's times I'm there and I say, oh, man, hey, maybe we need a new coffee maker, for example. Okay. And they have a nice coffee maker on sale. What do? We start researching it. I don't just buy it. I'm going to look and say, can I get this cheaper someplace else? Because I may find that same deal for $50 less. And that $50 means something.
I found it interesting at Costco. I love Costco. I think it's great. It's hard to get in there and not spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because you do feel like you're getting a great deal. But I found that if I travel across Northeast Georgia and the different Costco's have different prices.
No way.
Really? On the same thing?
They do.
That's dirty pool.
Wow.
Well, and it's also nice when you walk away from that purchase that you're just trying to all of a sudden purchase. When you walk away from that and you go and think about it, it's actually rewarding in a sense, and it kind of encourages that same behavior in the future.
Need it.
Yeah, because you don't have what's called buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
Oh, you think about parents too. They can do this with the simple things. They may have the wherewithal to buy that toy, that game,
whatever.
The kids, whatever it is. But they could just set the example by just, you know what, we don't need that right now. Just walk away, and it may cause some suffering and some crying, but it may be worth it in the long run.
Can handle the meltdown in Target to just get out the door.
Well, let's talk about one more thing in that category, and then we got one more subject to talk about before we take our break here, Lee. vehicles. This is another area that I see young people make so many mistakes. One of the best financial pieces of advice given to me when I was a senior in high school, my teacher, Johnny Yearwood at Rockdale County High School, said your vehicle is a tool to get you from point A to point B. So what's happened now is young people, their vehicle's kind of a showpiece, right? Mm-hmm. They want the nice stereo, they want the tinted windows, they want the nice rims. All that costs money, and worse than that, Lee, that money is really not recoverable. It doesn't add value to the vehicle.
Does not.
It's the worst investment, right?
It is.
As soon as you
It's
drive it off,
depreciating
it's already lost its value the second you drive off the lot.
It is. I think the most important thing in evaluating that is what I go back to earlier. When you first open that account at the bank, whatever bank it is, you've started a relationship. Mm-hmm. Go and talk to that banker. Get their opinion of what you're buying. They're going to know people that are going to put you in contact with people who will guide you in the right direction for the car that's going to hold its value the best, that's going to get you to point A to point B efficiently. It scares me when we hear of 72-month car loans. It scares me when we hear of 50-year mortgages.
Yeah,
those are
insane.
Bad financial decisions.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is I could make a case that you should not finance a car more than 5 years, no matter if it's new or
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree.
Most of the time, they're not going to hold their value. Now, we're seeing cars hold their value a lot longer than they used to. So, you can argue with me. You can sometimes convince me, but 5 years should be your goal. Is to not be able. You should be able to afford that. Still have that disposable income at the end of the month to do the things you want to do, and still pay for that car without having a $700-800 car payment. That is insanity to me.
Well, and I think this brings us right into our final talking point for this segment, and that is spending plans for big goals. So let's say you are a teenager and you want to buy that car. Instead of maybe taking out a loan, is put yourself on a savings plan, stock up cash, find a car that's a $5,000 car. I don't know what you can get an entry level car for, but I'm assuming you get something decent for $4,000 or $5,000. May not be a beautiful vehicle.
No.
It's not going to be a showpiece. No. You're not going to be entering the car show with this thing.
Right.
But it's going to get you to and from work.
It's the most important, yeah.
It does. But your point speaks to the savings piece of that. We talked about it earlier, Charlie, about everything's just expected. Well, I can just have this car, right?
Right.
But
I'll just pay for it, over the next month, every month.
Well, but you have to have a down payment. Otherwise, you're going to go to a sales finance, or you're going to have to pay a higher interest rate because you're financing more of the car. You're going to have to. You're stretching it out for a longer term, which costs you more money.
Or you pull money from your savings to put on the down payment of the car, which is not a good investment. Like, you're already upside down in cars. It's hard because you want. Like, I have a nice SUV, but I see all the moms in the carpool line with the GMC Denali Yukon, all tinted windows, and I'm like, I'm ready for that. And my husband's like, your car's not even paid off yet.
Some of those cars cost more than my first house.
And that's it. I've looked at these Wagoneers, and they are more than me and my husband's first house.
It's a sweet ride, though.
Don't listen to him. No, I cannot pay. I just cannot pay that much for a car, no matter how nice it is.
I think that's to Mark's point is that if you want to have that car, that's fine. Save for it.
Make it your goal.
Don't finance things like that.
No.
That's a wall.
Yeah, I can't.
That'll definitely
hurts.
come back to bite you.
Makes
no
you
doubt.
sick.
You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come up, we're going to do basically a recap of everything that we discussed in our final segment. Stick around.
Here's Evan Youngblood for Youngblood Tractor in Madison.
Did you know Youngblood Tractor is much more than just tractors? Sure, we have the biggest selection of Massey Ferguson tractors around and all the attachments you could ever need. But did you know we also carry the Kawasaki side-by-side lineup like the legendary Kawasaki Mule, Terex, and Ridge? That's Kawasaki's new cab model with heat and AC. Youngblood Tractor also carries the complete Spartan zero-turn mower lineup from residential to commercial zero-turn mowers. Combine that with our massive trailer inventory of equipment, dump, enclosed, and utility trailers, you can always build a winning combination at Youngblood Tractor right here in Madison. We also feature a full parts and service department to help maintain your equipment for years to come. Whether you're a full-time farmer, hunter, or property owner looking to maintain your land, Youngblood Tractor is here to make your next outdoor project a success. Call us today at 706-342-2242 or stop by and see us at 1600 Athens Highway in Madison or shop us 24 hours a day at youngbloodtractor.com.
There's nothing like a delicious Southern-style breakfast like you'll find at the Potluck Cafe, featuring eggs, Holyfield sausage, Thomas Brothers country ham, omelets, pancakes, hash browns, and more. Served up with a warm smile each weekday, Monday through Saturday, starting at 6:30 a.m. Voted the best breakfast and wait staff in Walton County. It's the Potluck Cafe, open for breakfast and lunch. 115 North Midland Avenue in Monroe. Find them on Facebook and see their menu at potluckcafe.com.
Looking to upgrade your home? Turn to Brits Flooring and Appliances. Proudly family owned and trusted for over 50 years, with locations in Monroe and Lawrenceville. Brits offers top name brands, expert service, and free estimates on flooring. They're proud to support high school athletics and honored to be a part of the community. From beautiful flooring to appliances, make Brits your first choice. That's Brits Flooring and Appliances. Go to Brits.com.
Make sure your diesel is ready for every season by stopping in at Leadfoot Diesel. Their technicians have many years of combined experience to keep your Cummins, Power Stroke, and Duramax running the way it should. Plus, they can improve fuel mileage, perform upgrades, AC repair, and they offer tires, wheels, lift kits, and more. Diesel owners from all over the country trust Leadfoot Diesel, 320 Mayfield Drive in Monroe. Stop in or go to leadfootdiesel.com.
Welcome back to the Marc McMain Show. In this final short segment, we're just going to do a quick recap of everything we discussed, and we're going to hit on one key subject that we did kind of leave out. So I'm not going to say this is the perfect analysis of what to do, but let's recap. If you've got a young person, teach them to save. If you can participate in that savings, participate. Add a little bit into what they're saving. If you have extra money and you can contribute to a 529 to start paying for their college, do it. Maybe grandma and grandpa can. If you don't have the bandwidth, maybe grandpa does.
Maybe grandparents.
Yep, That's right. They can maybe pitch in. When they get to a certain age and you have the bandwidth, help them open a custodial Roth IRA to teach them that long-term investment plan. When it comes to spending, be sure they're wise. Set an example. Use coupons. Shop hard. Be sure that whatever you're buying, A, do you need it, and B, are you getting it at the least amount or the least price that you can spend? Are you being wise in how you shop? And then on the job side of the thing, be sure that you're prepared. Teach your children how to prepare for an interview. Dress, punctuality, what the expectations are. And Lee, you and I talked about something in the break.
Yeah, we did. We love to see our new employees come in and be prepared to go to work and not expect to be that manager, not expect to be the boss. We talked about this whole segment.
You want that title, you want that business card that's got the big title on it, but you got to work there.
Yeah,
you got to work for it.
We're entitled to the title. Is what
you think? Yes, yeah.
And we see that all the time. We would love to see young people, even coming out of college. And we talked about high school working and the things they do, but even coming out of college, we see these kids come in. They're not willing to put in the work. They want to be the boss immediately. They want to loan the $1 million loan immediately. They're not willing to put in the time and effort to learn the segments of the business and the cycles that come with it. Everything's not always good.
Right.
Things are tough sometimes. We have to make hard decisions all the time. I tell them that they think that they know better than everyone. They think that they've learned this, but some of the most important things we do are when we decline people for loans. I tell my lenders that is the key thing that we do, is declining them because they might not be ready. But our responsibility as a banker is to tell them how to get to where they need to be.
Right.
What can they do to repair that credit? What can they do to get to the point that they've got the down payment to save for that house, to buy that car that they want? We're there to counsel them to get to the point to help them get to their goals. But people, for the most part, they don't take the time to do the blocking and tackling. They don't take the time to do the menial task it takes to be successful.
Well, and that's what I tell young people. It's like, if you, going back to being punctual, looking sharp, having that great attitude, but if you are willing to work diligently, you do not have to be the smartest. You do not have to be the best. You don't have to be the most educated. If you just go in and go to work, you will rise to the top. You will be discovered. Just like you said, you won't have to ask for that raise. You'll be discovered, and you will perform. And the opportunities are there in any industry, whether it's in the financial side, if you want to work in a restaurant, if you want to work in construction, no matter what path you choose, the opportunities are there for you to succeed. And here's the best part. If you follow these plans, if you get with a financial advisor and you stick to an investment plan, You can pick whatever career you enjoy, and the money will be there.
It will. Mm-hmm. It will.
The money works itself out,
right?
If you're disciplined. So you don't have to go to school to be a doctor, an attorney, or whatever. You can, if you enjoy painting houses, if you enjoy being a plumber, if you enjoy working in a bank, if you want to be a teller, if you want to be a teacher, the path to financial success is there. We talked about it in the break. We feel like there's so much that we have to cover in this segment. In 2 hours, I think we only scratch the surface.
Yeah.
It is a lot, right, Charlie?
Right, but it's so interesting, and it's just got me itching for more.
Well, and I think it's funny, Lee. You can come out. We can have you back and have a whole segment on credit.
Right, we can.
Building your credit score, and that's something that we'll schedule that maybe after the first of the year.
That is phenomenal, yeah.
It is.
We could talk about how to establish credit and how to rebuild it when it goes bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be a subject all in itself. Yeah.
A lot of people get in trouble that way, yeah.
Tomorrow when we come back, we'll continue the conversation in regards to mental and spiritual health. We've got special guests coming in for that. Remember this, folks. Kids learn financial habits early. Earning builds pride. Saving builds discipline. Spending builds decision-making. And working builds independence. Lee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Thank you. And thank you to Amy.
Oh, yeah, Amy was
yeah,
great.
I mean, this has just been so inspiring.
Charlie, you got that coffee all knocked out?
Almost. Look, this is giving me life. So
I think there's $2 left in that cup.
I'm going to chug it in just a second.
Special thanks to Chastity for keeping us in line here, and we look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. Thank you, folks.